This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our friends over at ease.com, California's top one-stop website for legal marijuana delivery. Ease would like you to take some time today and learn about National Expungement Week, which runs for one more day through October 27th, and that centers around a series of events being held all over the United States where people can go get help scrubbing now legal cannabis charges from their criminal records. In particular, Ease is proud to support the work of Adam Vine and his organization Cage-Free Cannabis, which works to heal the harms of the drug war on people and communities. You can find the closest National Expungement Week event over at offtherecord.us and learn more about and support Cage-Free Cannabis at cagefreecannabis.com. That's offtherecord.us and cagefreecannabis.com. And of course, you can fire up ease.com for legal California marijuana delivery that's properly tested, packaged, and labeled. Thanks to everyone at ease.com for helping spread the word about National Expungement Week. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Friday, October 26th, 2018, and you're tuned in to episode 600 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a fully busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Our top three stories on this fine Friday all play along a similar theme, and that's fundraising. Kicking off the three-story theme chain is Florida-based seed-to-sale provider Metrc, which just announced its first chunk of outside funding in the form of a $50 million round taken up by investment firm Tiger Global Management and Casa Verde Ventures, the marijuana-focused VC firm best known as being Snoop Dogg's investment vehicle. In a now relatively crowded market, Metrc has managed to secure exclusive contracts in 11 states as well as in the District of Columbia. The company says it will continue to grow its operations within legal cannabis, but will also explore other regulated markets where their software could be applied. Our second investment headline needs a friendly bit of disclosure as it concerns Massachusetts-based Forefront Holdings, whose founder Chris Crane is a good friend of mine and a host and regular on our weekly show, Marijuana Today. I was also employed by Forefront for a year or so before starting up this podcast and have a lot of friends over there. New Cannabis Ventures is reporting that Forefront just closed up on an oversubscribed round of funding totaling $31 million. Forefront is a consulting and management company that is also deploying its own chain of dispensaries and is in the final stages of a reverse takeover merger into the Canadian Securities Exchange. Rounding out today's top slate of investment stories is Ohio-based Green Growth Brands, which just raised $85 million Canadian up in Canada, where it also has offices. That's $65 million US. The company is led by Peter Horvath, a former executive with retailer American Eagle Outfitters, and says it will use the proceeds of the funding round to expand its retail holdings in the U.S. Mr. Horvath says he intends to take Green Growth Brands public on the Canadian market later this fall. This one's an interesting story for how stacked the young company's ranks seems to be with retail-focused folks. Swing over to Marijuana Business Daily for the full read. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out in headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, ease.com, California's top one-stop website for legal marijuana delivery. As I mentioned at the top of the show, Ease is eager to spread the word about National Expungement Week, which runs for one more day through October 27th. There are now a number of states in the U.S. where people with now legal cannabis charges on their criminal records can go through a process to get them cleared away. National Expungement Week is built around a series of events all over the country where anyone can get help with that. You can find those events and read up on why expungement is necessary in the first place over at offtherecord.us. And while you have a browser window open, also fire up cagefreecannabis.com to learn about a very worthy organization that works to repair the harms of the drug war on people and communities. That's offtherecord.us and cagefreecannabis.com. Big thanks to everyone involved and to ease.com for helping spread the word. All right, time for the blitz. California-based marijuana company MedMen just released financial results for their fourth quarter and for the fiscal year 2018. You'll want to open up New Cannabis Ventures for the full dive in on this one, as there are a lot of numbers, but some of the top of the line points are their annual revenues of $39.8 million and their Q4 revenue of $20.6 million. The company currently has operations in a total of 12 states and has 67 dispensaries in all. Another big number is the $250 million MedMen has raised through investment and financing since the reverse takeover they backed into in May. Again, a good story to read in full. Former NFL player Tiki Barber is launching a new investment company that will focus on the legal marijuana industry. In a cool and much needed twist, Barber's Grove Group management will not only factor in profitability when it makes investments in legal cannabis startups, but will also consider social and criminal justice issues. Mass Live is a good story up about a longer-running storyline in Massachusetts centered around so-called community host agreements, where towns and cities sign agreements with prospective cannabis businesses, giving them the necessary sign-off required by the state in exchange for a cut of the business's revenue. State law sets a cap on the time those community host agreements can run for and on the percentage of sales that cities and towns can demand, but that has not stopped nearly every single Massachusetts city and town that signed a community host agreement from asking for and getting more. The general attitude among the local officials holding the keys to community host agreements seems to be that everyone else is breaking the law, so they will too. In response, the state's Cannabis Control Commission has said it lacks the authority to do anything about it, even though Commission member Shalene Title has loudly criticized the system, going as far as to abstain from voting on the adult use licenses given out in recent weeks in protest. Shalene, of course, is an on-hiatus regular on our weekly show, Marijuana Today. On Wednesday, the Massachusetts Grower Advocacy Council said it was researching how it could take legal action to compel the commission to act. A good one to read in full, as there are a lot of moving parts here. Utah Governor Gary Herbert criticized the federal government yesterday for, quote, dragging its feet, unquote, on medical marijuana. Governor Herbert, whose state will go to the ballot next month to decide on medical marijuana measure Proposition 2, said that until the feds get around to changing medical cannabis's status on the federal books, medical marijuana laws would be, quote, a work in progress, unquote. He also iterated that a special legislative session would be called following the election to address medical marijuana, no matter how Proposition 2 fares, echoing an earlier statement by Utah State Speaker of the House, Greg Hughes. Forbes has an interesting story up looking at a possible indicator of the ascension of legal cannabis to the detriment of the alcohol industry. Writer Thomas Pelliccia picked up on an anecdotal rising flood of executive defections from the alcohol industry into legal cannabis. Not a bad story to read. CNN has an in-theme headline to our previous story as alcohol giant Anheuser-Busch InBev cut its investor dividend in half as sales from its beer division have dropped. The share price of the company sank 10% on the news of the dividend cut yesterday, which Anheuser-Busch executives say is necessary to offset an overall industry trend away from cheap beer that tastes like fizzy water. We end today and the week on a bit of a fun note. The Toronto airport was a good enough sport to respond to a recent thread on the website Reddit, sharing a photo of the bins that have been put up at the airport for people to toss away unwanted cannabis ahead of flying out of the country. The post on Reddit captioned the bins as a place to get free weed. Gizmodo reached out to an airport spokesperson who kindly took the time to confirm that no, those are not free weed bins. Think of them as don't get arrested when you fly back home bins. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again Monday morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at MJ Today Daily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Ease, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in, starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.